Is it working? Disclaimer. This video was filmed in Russian because I still don't know English very well. With modern technologies with neural networks, we translated it into English. Derive pleasure from the act of observing and experiencing enjoyment. I'll say what's not news to you. The world is not a sunny and friendly place. In fact, it is a very dangerous and cruel place to be in. One must always be cautious and aware of the potential risks and threats that exist. And if you grant him an opportunity, he will topple you with such tremendous force that you will not have the ability to rise to your feet once more. No one in the world hits as hard as life does. It doesn't matter how you hit. What really matters is the kind of punch you hold on to. What is your plan for moving forward? Are you intending to go? Please go ahead and proceed.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the hot pit.
I'm Anton on the Rykov channel. I've been drifting for 6 years, currently in California, trying to leave Russian streets and get into the Formula Drift Pro Series, aiming to pursue my passion for drifting at a professional level. While we subscribe, put likes, and let's go, join the channel.
I am extremely pleased to meet you, but you do not know anything about me at all. Let us fix it. Where I come from, unfortunately, there were no such racing tracks. And at first, such a track for me was a winding frozen river, and later they became the streets of the city. But it's interesting how my fate would have turned out if I had grown up in places with nearby tracks, but about everything in order.
Hi all, I'm Anton Rykov from a small village named Ivantivka. It's in Russia, specifically in the Saratov region. I am 28 years old. All my life I have been passionate about motorsport, or sometimes it seemed to me that I was passionate about motorsport, but in fact it was far from motorsport. But somehow my entire life is linked to racing, cars, technology, construction equipment, different mechanisms, complex mechanisms. In a sense, I can call myself an engineer. Since I lived in a small village, there weren't many entertainments there, and the connection with the larger global world was not so great. But there was cable television, which had such interesting channels as Discovery, Extreme Sport, various automotive channels, on which I saw cars, and they always lured me. And especially racing attracted me. One evening, I don't remember which year it was, I distinctly remember when I first saw the drift formula. The airing of a stage of Formula Drift took place on the Extreme Sport channel. I distinctly recall this Long Beach track, where I was present in person during the summer. However, the Long Beach track itself is familiar to me. I've seen many videos of this stage, witnessed how this drift happens. It had a tremendous impact on me. However, it was something truly unbelievable. I am such an amazing person, wow. And later I attempted to implement it. When I acquired my initial vehicle, I endeavored to drift with it on the highways, on the dirt roads that were located in the vicinity of our village. Chernava River flows through our village, unsure how it will translate into a network. In winter, due to the cold region, we experience frosts up to -40, which is astonishing in Fahrenheit. The river freezes strongly, allowing cars to drive on it. And I took my mom's Skoda, and also on these different channels, Discovery, Extreme Sport, I saw videos of how rally racing happens. And I saw that our Cody Fabia also participates in rallies. And I think to myself, I'm almost the same. Although I have an automatic car and a 1.6 engine, not a turbocharged one, and various other engines like those rally cars, I already felt like such a cool rally driver. The road was incredibly winding, adding to the thrill of the experience. Well, this is not a road, it is simply a river that has frozen. And it was extremely cool to ride on it, and I was attempting to drift. I didn't like just driving fast on the highway, I like to have maximum drift, but it was a front-wheel drive car. That's how it entered my life. All I'm saying is the age around 14 to 16 years old. In Russia, you can only get rights at the age of 18. But if you are brave and skilled enough, you can generally drive a car, even before that in the village. In the village, you need to understand that we had 3 policemen for the whole village who actually didn't bother anyone much. If you haven't had any accidents or crashes, then no one is interested. Well, since I've already been driving cars, I really wanted my own car. And at the age of 16, I worked there throughout the entire summer on bricks. We dismantled buildings, cleaned the wild bricks, and sold them. I bought my first car. It was a Vaz 2106 Lada Zhiguli. I am uncertain if any of these names are familiar to you in any way. I believe you should listen to Lada or Zhiguli.
In fact, the only positive thing about this car is that you can drive in a hat. Let me show you the full horror by example.
This is a classic Russian car that most people learn to drive on. For me, it was just a car. I initially thought it was some kind of sports car, so I really raced a lot on it, trying to understand the basics of drifting and skidding. Of course, on asphalt, this car couldn't do anything. It couldn't even start properly without spinning its wheels. But we had off-road trails where we could have fun racing and enjoying the thrill of off-road driving. These are dirt tracks that are similar to rally special stages. And they are simply fields with grass, and you have the ability to ride on them with drift maneuvers. It was fun, and this car actually taught me how to drive, taught me how to repair it, because naturally it was an old car that broke down a lot.
In fact, everything I did in my life, one way or another, led me to the world of motorsport, and that's why.
This obviously sounds a little bit epic and perhaps not truly exactly like that, but in reality I have always worked since I was a little child. Since we have a family business, there was a family business in Russia. It was connected with cars, freight transportation, trade. It was a quite diverse business, and I always worked in it in one way or another. Even in my early childhood, I sometimes just came to our base, where the products were delivered, distributed to stores, and there I helped with something somewhere. Sometimes you just need to rearrange some boxes, recalculate something somewhere. It was there at both 10 and 12 years old. When I was 11 years old, I worked at the market and sold ice cream. It was such a job, it's like straight out of the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Koyasaki, my father, bestowed upon me a refrigerator that housed ice cream, and every morning I accompanied him to the market where we engaged in the sale of ice cream. Following that, there were numerous diverse occupations, but all of them were in some way connected to our business. And the business was developing, and one of the very strong directions in the future, as I grew up and the business grew, was the direction associated with freight transportation and repair of trucks. And thus we are nearing the point in time when there was a decision to be made regarding the destination and type of education to pursue. I got myself enrolled in the automotive university. The specialty offered to me was called Automobiles and Automobile Economy. In it, it is an engineering specialty in which education is obtained on how to manage large car fleets, how cars are repaired, how repair stations are organized, and everything related to the car. What else attracted me there is that in one way or another, I am getting closer to the world of cars, closer to the world of motorsport. This is what always attracted me there. I always longed for it. And at the bottom of the open doors, they were telling something very little about the fact that this university has something separate that is somehow related to cars, to car racing. I hope that I will be able to obtain an education that is relevant to my primary occupation, logistics, considering the direction in which the business is heading, and still maintain some level of proximity to the world of motorsport. I may not have been the best student, but my knowledge was sufficient. It's important to realize that I was also working at a cargo auto service during this time, where I acquired practical utilitarian knowledge while obtaining theoretical knowledge at the university. And some of the teachers treated me well because they liked my experience, and some worse because I did something not quite right somewhere. Thus, it turned out that I was receiving theoretical education, a good university education, and gaining practical skills related to managing personnel, administering a car service, and organizing work correctly simultaneously, which allowed me to acquire a diverse range of knowledge and experience. Well, there are a lot of different useful skills that allow you to run a business. And when my education at the institute was coming to an end, it is necessary to understand that I was moving forward as if in parallel, trying to deal with ordinary everyday things and somehow pushing myself closer to the world of motorsport. But the institute, which I hoped would bring me closer to motorsport, did not bring me closer to motorsport. Then I realized that I need to take everything into my own hands. I decided that it is necessary to open a separate direction, not in a small village like ours, but in the city, to open a car service where various ordinary passenger cars will be serviced and try to somehow be closer to the world of sports cars. A suitable location was discovered that was ideal for this purpose. It had a stunning landscape and the interior was quite pleasant. And it was the car service that became the important chapter of my life, when I truly became close to the world of motorsport. Yes, I haven't become a racer yet, but in order to advertise the car service and actually just to be closer to the world of motorsport, I started getting acquainted with various organizers of local drift. We had individuals who organized a small local drift championship. I encountered them and began assisting them in the process of organizing it. Simultaneously advertised there, often effective, took part in other racing organizations, developed genuine proximity to the world of motorsport. And even during that period, I started conditionally sponsoring, or rather I was a technical partner of one of the pilots. He just approached me and said that I have a car, I want to participate in races, but it periodically breaks down and I can't fix it myself. Because of this, I lose in races. I agreed, I will assist you. I possess a skilled team, a group of mechanics. I personally have a strong knowledge in this field. It has been approximately a year or two. I consistently kept track of all the developments in the motorsport industry and our local racing scene. It should be understood that pilot technical support was not an expense for me. It was minimal expenses. All the main expenses of the pilot he took on himself. He bought the tires himself, he bought the spare parts himself. We only partially helped him somewhere. Refueled the car on which we drove him to the race because it was our technician that was used for work in the car service. We really helped this pilot a lot technically, and his car broke down, but we tried to reduce his tasks of this guy Andre to the level that he only had to steer. And he took first place in the first stage. The second stage turned out to be unsuccessful, and then we were overtaken. Because all this time that I had a car service, I immersed myself in the opposite side of motorsport. And that is everything that is related to illegal races, street races, various timed races that take place on the street, and the so-called street drifting. I had Zhiguli cars that I specifically prepared for the purpose of drifting. These were not legal contests, it was simply a car that I had prepared for the purpose of drifting. Here is an important nuance. In Russia, there is winter, and for 4 months a year there is snow on the streets, and you don't need a powerful car for that. Actually, here we are returning to the story of the fact that the car that I bought at 16 when I already had a car service, I restored it, prepared it for drifting, and started racing on the streets. Extremely potent. Almost every evening I went out on the streets and drove. I drove through the streets because it is more cost effective. You must comprehend that genuine motorsport is extremely costly. Merely driving around the streets is in fact not very expensive, but it is also unsafe. And here a problem occurred. At that moment I was filming my own YouTube, running Instagram, and I started posting on Instagram how I drive around the streets. The competition organizers were strongly against it. And now I understand them. I truly believe in driving through the streets. Silly. At that moment I was behaving incorrectly. It was possible to find tracks that you could agree on with tracks to go out on them. We were just drawn to the romance of street racing. We were in a fairly good position in the standings, needing to secure at least third and potentially first place in the championship. However, we were qualified at this point from the fourth stage. At this point, my fate was already divided into what I knew, that there is a legal world of motorsport and an illegal world of motorsport. The competitions that took place were held in the parking lot of a shopping center. And in fact, if you don't drive around the streets, then your only opportunity is to go out to this parking lot 4 times a year for 2 days in the summer. And that is it, your drift is over. That is why many pilots race on the streets. After I had already delved into the world of real motorsport and possessed a car for street use, namely a BMW E30 equipped with a JZ engine, it dawned on me that my driving skills were akin to those of a seasoned professional. The thought of participating in actual official competitions even crossed my mind, as I was confident in my abilities behind the wheel. I computed the expenses that I require, which I will possess in order to be able to participate in the event. I calculated how much money is needed for this, and I decided to sell the car. And during that period, I tried to take on everything that brought in money. I worked simultaneously in a freight car service and freight transportation in a family business, but I didn't devote much time to it. Participated in car service. I believed reselling cars would help me earn money. However, it was there that an incident occurred, prompting me to make a change in my life and strive to be more focused on one thing. I had a severe accident. I drove the car to my house during the night. This is a vehicle that was originally meant for selling. I had to show it to people in the morning, those who wanted to buy it. But I was driving home at night and a person flew out towards me who later turned out to be drunk. He crashed into me and completely wrecked the car. I miraculously survived that accident. It was a pretty strong accident. I broke my leg and spent a month in the hospital. And it was like such a year end, which was very difficult for me. Because on the one hand, I was already very close to motorsport, but at the same time, I understood that it was absolutely unattainable for me. The passage of time running parallel to the business, which is associated with freight transportation, logistics, truck repair, and the production of crushed stone, begins to grow and expand. I encountered my spouse, my forthcoming spouse. We commenced cohabitating. We come to the conclusion that we must tie the knot. Let's marry. We began traveling a lot, started going to various beautiful places and visited Europe during our journeys. And I realized that in general, money can be spent not only on cars, but on oneself, on family, on one's wife, on possibly future children that we planned with her. And it shifted my focus for a while towards the need to simply earn money. And here I quickly realized that the car service doesn't bring me that much money. During this time, COVID-19 occurred. My wife was pregnant. We anticipated a child. I focused on the family business, which grew rapidly during that period. I comprehended that perhaps I required to acquire additional knowledge in life. I submitted an application to the university once more and achieved a second higher education degree. It took me just a couple of years in that place because it's sort of like getting extra education. This is the university where I graduated as a mining engineer. It is a place for engineers who can develop careers and service various machines used for the extraction and production of gravel and construction materials. And one of the skills required for this was conducting blasting operations. In situations where there is a significant amount of dynamite, explosives are loaded into specially designated holes in the ground and subsequently detonated. It was extremely cool, extremely impressive. I informed you of this solely to insert these frames. And yes, these are frames from my phone, and I was the individual accountable for organizing these works. It was also very cool and enjoyable. What's even more crucial is that it turned out to bring in significantly more money, and it seemed to me that everything is going well, that I don't need anything. We travel periodically, go somewhere to relax and unwind. And life is going really well. I am constructing my awesome house. However, my wife observed that I was growing anxious. I was not my usual self. And she clearly told me, "I know that you have a goal in life. And what is happening at present is not aligned with the plans and aspirations you had for your entire life. I think you need to return to the world of racing." And then I started to think that yes, maybe I can try to come back already at a new stage of my life, and everything is falling into place in life, and I need to go back to motorsport again. Here, two important nuances occurred. When discussing it with my spouse, I also realized that I may be deceiving myself, leading to negative consequences as I failed to channel my energy effectively. Naturally, I rapidly devised a plan regarding what and how I would proceed. I swiftly contemplated my desired automobiles and concluded that I would return to the previous car I possessed, albeit unable to engage in motorsport. It was an E30 with a JZ engine. I quickly find another E30 on JZ that is being sold quickly. I contact the owner, and it seems like everything is falling into place. I understand that I already have new life experience and the ability to build large teams. And at that time, building a racing team seemed like a very easy task for me, and in principle, I quickly coped with it. I allocated a separate room and quickly found a person. By the way, it was an interesting story that we accidentally got in touch with a guy who was a master of sports in rallycross at that time. And he knew how to construct excellent, genuine racing automobiles, I assume it. We are making a purchase with my sibling. Yes, I have two younger brothers, we buy cars with him. This is BMW E30. I have a sedan because I am a family person, and he, as a bachelor, bought himself a Cooper. True, my first JZ is weaker, but he has a powerful second JZ. Swiftly arrange the team. In the course of this time frame, I make the decision to construct my own racing track. Everything is becoming quite cool. At the moment, I am working on a project for a racing circuit. We have drawn the design. Separately, next to the quarry, where we had production, I tried to combine that here I will work, and here I will spend money. I'll construct a big racing track, and everything was developing rapidly formed their own team. We have surpassed the summer season. In the springtime, we purchased automobiles and attended races. These were various local races. Somewhere I won, somewhere I lost. Important moment. This is the year 2021. This is important for storytelling, for historical events in the world. In the world, I didn't think that historical events from around the world would interfere in my life. COVID was nearly finished, and I thought, great, life is beginning anew. We can resume participating in races and attending both stages of the RDS Europe. This is something comparable to the local street. I do not display good outcomes on them, but I comprehend that my automobile is not strong. The season is passing. My mechanic and I are already making big plans for next year. We commence filming for media, releasing videos, and everything falls into place. There are individuals with us who will be capturing footage. There is a separate team manager who fulfills the role of a team manager. He previously worked as my assistant in the primary business operations. And he was also passionate about racing. It was all very cool. And prior to the commencement of 2022, we have enormous plans. I'm buying myself another car, also based on the E30. I was planning to build a powerful car on LSE that will be competitively capable. We plan, brother, to arrange a new platform based on the E92. We buy all spare parts with the JZ engine. I also begin working on identifying sponsors who can collaborate with us. I am in the process of preparing a program for the upcoming year and disseminating advertising proposals. And in February 2022, I recall this day vividly. It is February 15th, 2022. I am married, I have a child, and I have constructed my own house. Profitable business where I earn a lot. I own a racing team preparing for the season. It's a good, cool business that brings in substantial income. A representative from Castrol, the distributor for the entire Russian region, is scheduled to visit me. We are establishing a partnership agreement with him. On the 24th of February 2022, the president of my country, whom I personally consider to be an illegitimate president, declares war on Ukraine, which I find deeply concerning. I oppose this war. Unfortunately, there's no freedom of speech in Russia. You can't just go out on the street and say what you want in Russia. The sole method to express yourself is to simply depart from your country of origin. And here in the summer of 2022, we come here to America for reconnaissance. The main task was to determine if we could live here and if I could provide for my family. But about everything in order. Since my relocation to the United States of America was quite unplanned and overall I had no idea whatsoever about what I would be doing here, and drifting was not a priority at all. And here, my wife strongly emphasized that I absolutely need to start engaging in drifting here as well, without any delay. Otherwise, she justifies it by explaining that I will simply lose the zest for life, along with my interest and motivation to do anything, and I won't have much left in terms of fulfillment and purpose. Actually, of course, I am extremely grateful to my wife for her support and for the fact that she even encourages me to participate in all of this. Undoubtedly, she may not entirely agree and she may have a preference for it if my hobby happened to be golf or fishing instead. I am incredibly grateful to her for accepting me as I am, and she truly understands that motorsport is extremely important to me in life.
Well, friends, we are with you at Angel Crest. This place is very popular and well known among various types of illegal racers. Dudes who race in canyons, distribute stuff like that in various parking lots, spin fives, and even believes he is performing drift. For me, all these illegal races are no longer interesting at all this street drift racing. I've had enough of walking in the city. Currently, my only interest lies in the world of adult real motorsport, disregarding all other pursuits. This is my goal, and I'm sure I can achieve all of them. My goals that I have set.
Just almost the same color. Can I copy your homework? Just change the answers. Anton Rykov! Anton Rykov in the red E46.
When we came here in the summer for our so-called reconnaissance, I wanted to understand how local businesses are organized, and one of them,
I went to an auto service center to have my car serviced.
also for work literally for one day. I came for an interview, told them that I am a good employee, they hired me, and there I met Vanya. Ivan is precisely the individual with whom I had my initial interactions in the drift community and overall in the racing community, so to speak, in America.
With Ivan, we went for the first
Apple Valley on the track, where I ultimately ended up spending a significant amount of time here. This is an incredibly cool little kart track, and there are individuals who rent out cars, specifically the 350Z, which are slightly modified for drifting. These cars may be quite beaten up, but they are more than suitable for drifting on this track. It's a thrilling experience that you don't want to miss out on.
Actually, it was my first time drifting.
In America on rental cars. Over the summer, I visited there several times, and after that, when I returned to Russia and finally moved to America, I went to the track a couple more times. We rode. We also went there with my wife.
Very cool, fantastic, I love it.
Then I came to the realization that I needed my own car for drifting, and my choice ultimately fell on the Corvette as the perfect option for me. In the summer, I saw that the car was for sale. I really liked it, but I knew that I needed to return to Russia. I didn't know for how long I would return, for 1 month or for 6 months.
A month later, I returned to America.
And I promptly directed my attention to it, but I was without any accommodation or a car. I didn't possess anything at all at that particular moment. But I'm already determined to purchase it.
It was a cool Corvette.
In fact, it transpired that I purchased a pickup truck, rented a U-Haul, drove it, and purchased it.
Simply placed, this drifting Corvette
Huge, noisy, creaking, farting, put it in the parking lot of the apartments and didn't even know what I was going to do with it next. I had the impression that he would be competent for training and adequately prepared for competitions, enabling his participation in the championship event. In general, after I bought a Corvette, for the first month I just looked at it in the parking lot and drooled over it, walked around. I realized I had different tasks at the moment and needed to solve them while moving. The initial track outing was soulful. I purchased a pickup truck, a trailer, and we filled up the tires. This was my first time in America with my own car. This is instantly a Corvette. The Corvette is also a car that I've been dreaming of for a while. I've always wanted to try drifting in a Corvette, and it was an amazing experience. I rode, releasing all my pent-up emotions and coming to the realization that yes, I will take drifting extremely seriously and devote myself fully to it. And then everything spun very quickly. Started constantly going to the track on this Corvette, started getting to know people on the track. The main difficulty was that I didn't understand at all what to do, what championships are here. This information is quite difficult to find on the internet. More precisely, I found something it should be understood I lacked proper English, couldn't grasp everything. And here I would like to express my gratitude to several people. One of them is Ram. This is the guy I accidentally met on the track. I reached the track and noticed that Odi Bakis was skateboarding there along with another person. It was Ram, actually. I wanted to ride with them somehow, and for this, you need to show something. It was offensive that my handbrake didn't work that day on the track. Sometimes people stand up to ride in pairs and they stand up with me. I'm like, damn, my car doesn't work, but I want to show. The ride turned out to be an unsuccessful one. I was waiting to return to the track as soon as possible, hoping these guys would be there again. I fixed the car, I come to the track, and here everything was already working. I waved myself. Well, on the track, when you're leaving, you can wave like that kind of call, like, let's go, let's ride together. We get up with Roma, drive a few times, already get more or less beautiful rides. And then I go to the tech park to change the tires, and he himself drives up to me saying, let's go again and practice. I'm like, wow, cool. I think, damn, this guy really rides well. But I absolutely didn't know who he was. Well, I understood that he was most likely a pilot participating in some competitions, and we had a great ride together. After that, I approached him thinking that I should introduce myself and try to find out what kind of races they have here. I start asking him, you have to understand, watch this video. The neural network is translating now. I filmed him in Russian, and at that moment, I didn't use any neural network. I just tried to talk to him in my broken English.
Hello, my name Anton. I'm from Russia. I'm going to track. I'm going to championate. You know what is championate? You are going to championate.
Let's do this performance in my regular English. I start asking him and he also answers me. I understand something. Yes, he also participates in some championships. And I am endeavoring to explain to him like I am going to that championship. The same goes for you. The same goes for you. I'm going to. He provides an explanation to me, and only after that he inquires of me, do you know who I am? I inform him that I don't know who he is. He explains that he's a drift formula pilot, well known on the track, except to me. It's cool, and I'm grateful because despite my broken English, he explains a lot and gives me contacts of Rob. I appreciate his efforts in enlightening me about his profession, considering my limited English proficiency. Gave me the contacts of the hot pit organizers, provided me with his phone number so that I could ask him about something if needed or had any inquiries. And Ram is exactly the person who showed me the way to the local drift. I am immensely grateful to him and want to say thank you. Thank you very much. He gave me a lot of information. I started studying everything, and then I realized that my Corvette is not suitable for local races. And then we proceed to the next individual who assisted me even more, enabling me to participate in drifting here in the United States. This is Dmitry Brutzi. Here everything is much better. We communicated with him even before I moved to America. We had a brief conversation with him. I said that I planned to move. Can I meet him, see something with him? He told me that, yes, when you come, let's meet. We initially contacted him 1 year ago in 2022 on Irwindale during the last phase. And after I realized that I needed a different vehicle, one of those vehicles was the car from the previous year, which Brookie had used to become a champion of Prospect twice. And this particular car had been manufactured in 2013. Michael Essa achieved a remarkable victory in the highly esteemed Formula Drift Pro 1 Championship.
E46, Dmitry Brutski. And right behind him in another E46,
in a very similar setup, I shall say.
They do look almost identical. Maybe the body kit's slightly different, huh? No, maybe not.
Bro,
pretty much the same one,
right?
huh?
Something like
nice.
that.
Are you guys teammates?
No.
Partners, homies?
They could be. They're Eskimo brothers.
Well, both cars look good.
I also want to say a big thank you to him. Thank you for helping me so much. You gave me a lot of information. And one more important detail. When I applied to Hot Pit, they already had a limit on pilots, I understand. And they were choosing who to take, who not to take, and it was specifically Brookie who was the person who vouched for me. The organizers of the Hot Pit connected with him. I sent them information about myself, sent videos of my rides, and as far as I understand, they called Brookie and asked if he knew this guy. Have you seen how he drives? And when I bought a car from him, we had a training day together, we rode, and he saw how I drive, and he vouched for me that I'm a competent driver and a reasonable person. And I was accepted into the championship. I want to thank him very much for this. And I want to express my deep thanks to the organizers of Hot Pita for trusting me. They allowed me to participate and complete the season. Despite the season's lack of success, I'll likely create a separate video detailing the entire season, including what occurred, the experience, and the cars I competed with. Because for the first few stages I was driving a Silvia and only then started driving a BMW. Thanks to the organizers, we'll mention their Instagrams. Thank you for your trust. I hope my performance will improve significantly in the upcoming season. And currently, I am just an individual who made the decision to leave my country due to the war and move to this nation, America. And here I am, an ordinary immigrant. I do not have a language. I know that I have enough inner energy to accomplish everything I have planned. But it is also very important for me now to find different partners here in America who will want to reach this goal with me. Achieve the championship title in Formula Drift. Currently, I am experiencing intense emotions regarding my current situation and the future direction I need to pursue. Just look at what's behind me. I really feel like I'm in GTA. And ahead of me is a huge number of missions that I have to complete in order to achieve the result, in order to complete this campaign. And here I also feel myself like as if I were in a movie or a computer game. I believe that I have superpowers and super ability. And I hope this movie about me will also have a happy ending. Unfortunately, in the modern world, it's not enough to just be a good pilot. Require excellent media support, require high recognition to make sponsors want to work with you. And for me, the only way to get this is to do this resource myself. Therefore, we make this YouTube for you, so I have a good Instagram. Subscribe to my YouTube, tell your friends about it, follow my Instagram. There's a lot of interesting stuff there. For now, of course, that is all. Pink glasses, and in order to make sure I can shoot a YouTube channel for a long time and with high quality, I just need to work consistently and put in the necessary effort. For this, I created a business, or rather, I bought a good business here, and I will simply work in it in order to have money and resources to deal with everything I told you about. On this channel, you will have the opportunity to follow in real time how my career is developing, what I succeed in, and what I fail in, how I overcome certain difficulties, what tasks I will set for myself in the future, and how I will achieve these tasks. So what will you see on the channel? These are vlogs where we will simply be online and tell you what is happening with us. We will also shoot various useful videos about cars, useful videos about drifting, various my reasoning about this or that things in drift, and not only car releases, maybe even car reviews. And we also plan to carry out various streams, such as live broadcasts from the car service center to provide comprehensive coverage of the automotive industry. Also streams from the races. I believe we will be engaging in numerous fascinating collaborations with various pilots. Formats of competitions with pilots, some kind of challenges and all that stuff. Thank you to everyone who watched this video to the end. It was very important for me to tell this story. This is the end of this story and the beginning of a completely new story. The beginning of my life in this country, the beginning of this YouTube channel. And it will be very important and very pleasant for me if you like this video. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, write in the comments what you think about this video. Tell me and write what you want to see on my YouTube channel. maybe you want to know more interesting things from this story. In general, thank you all for watching. Goodbye, everyone.